He stated that he thinks Jamal Adams is going to stay. He thinks that more or less like his heart is with the Jets, and he just kind of wants to he just wants to get it paid, more or less. That I also think it's good for Jets fans to hear it from a player instead of just the Jets front office or the media to try to make up a story or try to make both sides happy. That's coming from a player. Yes, it is a Jets player, but at the same time, they're probably close. Like they probably talked about like staying or leaving or whatever. Give me your thoughts as a Jets fan. What do you think of now that Le'Veon Bell has come out with this news or this like his statement? What do you think? Do you want Jamal Adams to stay? Do you think he's gonna stay?
I feel like I'm still on the fence about him staying. I think my opinion from the last episode when we talked about this originally, he was a player that I was done with. I didn't want him. Where now, if he comes back in the mindset that Le'Veon Bell says like he'll still come and play, I guess I would consider it. I would consider. I mean, obviously he's probably the best safety in the NFL still. Um, and I mean, you do want him on your team. He's a player that you saw multiple times make phenomenal plays that helped the Jets win games, especially when the season was down. He probably could have taken the rest of the season off and done like bad and or not put his entire heart onto the field, and he still did with some of those plays he made. And it's still hard for me to say that I want him to be a Jet because of the way he's seemed so against the Jets recently. But if he signs for like 6 years, then obviously I'd be thrilled. But right now, it's still hard to see him as a Jet.
Yeah, that's I mean I guess reasonable with the way he's gone at like fans, the way he's taken the social media and made everything so public about how he wasn't happy with contract talks and he wasn't happy that the Jets were taking possible trade offers for him, and it just seemed like he wanted to get out no matter what was going to happen. It just seems like he wanted to get out, and it didn't seem like he wanted anything to do with like the Jets at all. So I think from a Jets perspective, I think he's definitely someone you want to keep. Like, there's no way you want to like get rid of him. Let's be real. Like Jamal Adams at his age, he was drafted what 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
He was drafted 3 years ago, and you can easily argue that he's one of the best safeties in the NFL. And for his age, that's someone you want to lock up for a long time. Like we talked about the Patrick Mahomes contract. Obviously, he's not going to get that, but he's no, I feel like he's pretty deserving of like the contract he wants and the contract he thinks he should get. Like I think he's done a good enough job in order to receive that contract, and I feel he's again, as I said last episode, that this was kind of a publicity stunt where no matter what happens, he's gonna get what he wants. Like he's gonna get the money that he wants. It's either he gets traded and then he gets the money he wants, or stays with the Jets and he gets the money he wants. But I do feel that this is kind of like good news for Jets fans as Le'Veon Bell is commenting on it, because there really hasn't been much to comment. Like there was kind of a couple weeks ago, a month ago, everything was kind of laid out on Twitter, Instagram, so like all kinds of social media, and Jamal Adams was like, "Yeah, I want to go." He wasn't happy; he just wanted to go. And now it's kind of seeming like he might not go, and he probably won't go, and he's probably gonna get the money he wants with the Jets, and he'll be with the Jets for a while. I hope he stays with the Jets because I think the Jets are on an upward trend with the way that their draft has gone. It seems like they're really investing in their offensive line to keep Sam Darnold safe. Sam Darnold, when he didn't have mono, seemed to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He had a pretty good year. Obviously, they need to fix that offensive line, and if they can fix that offensive line, I think Sam Darnold can do a lot. But again, that depends on how the pieces they drafted and how the pieces they get fit. Because if they don't fit, the Jets are just going to kind of be where they were. And their division is more or less wide open. I mean, Tom Brady leaving the Patriots, I feel that that division could be won by any of those teams. Yes, it's still Bill Belichick's Patriots, and they're still going to play a very similar way. Their defense is still pretty good, but I mean, now you still have to try to go. You're not going against Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's a much different looking team, even though you just kind of got rid of 1 to 2 players. But I do think that division is wide open. The Bills, in my opinion, still have the best chance to win it. But I do think the Jets, if they can figure things out early, they can easily make a run for that division. I think they can.
or at least a seventh spot, because this will be the first year that there will be
This
seven
is
playoff teams.
Yeah, that is true. So it makes it not easier, but like it gives teams on the cusp of like the wild card a better chance to get in. So I do think that the Jets can. I feel like this is a season where you aim for like that seventh playoff spot. I feel like that's where your marker is. I feel like you don't go much further than that marker. That marker is kind of like that's where you want to be at the end of this year with your rookies and everything. You want to be at that seventh spot marker because after that, then you go into the next draft, or you make a couple good off season signings, and then you aim for that playoff spot. You aim for that wild card. Then I feel like that's where the Jets should aim to be at the end of this season. And I feel like I know Jets fans are gonna be like, oh, but we want to make the playoffs, we want to win our division, but like realistically, from where you were last season, with you ended off the season 7-2, I think.
7-9.
What's up?
Oh, it finished 6-2.
6-2, 6-2. Like the last 8 games, you were 6-2. Like that's first of all, that's far better than the beginning of the season, and you didn't have Sam Darnold for 5 out of the first 8 games, or 4 out of the first 8 games, whatever the exact thing was, because I don't remember. But they still had a pretty good end to the season. If you keep Jamal Adams, I feel like that defense is as good as it was, maybe a little better with more experience and everything. But I just feel that the Jets should be shooting for that 7th spot. That's the spot that they should be going for, and if they hit that, it's a good season. If they go further, it's a great season. I mean, I feel like that there's no like wrong part of that in my opinion. Do you think the Jets should be hitting for that spot, or they should be going higher?
I think the Jets have a lot of talent on their roster. You look at they were the most injured team in the league. I think at one point they had like 23 of their 53 players on injured reserve for one of the weeks, which is absolutely mind blowing. And a lot of their great players, both middle linebackers and C.J. Mosley and Avery Williamson, both were out for the season. And there's their backups to them, both also got injured and were out for the season. So they were on like their third, fourth string middle linebackers, which is a hard position to fill. Their starting tight end and Chris Herndon was suspended for the first 4 games. He comes back for 1 game, gets a season-ending injury, doesn't play for the rest of the season. And there was just so many key pieces that are going to be coming back this season, where I feel like going 7-9 last year, the expectation should be to make the playoffs. There's too much talent on the roster for them to at least not be competing for a top 7 spot. In my opinion, they should probably even be higher than that. But I don't know if Adam Gase is the right coach to help them get there. So I feel like this has to be to the ownership, to Adam Gase has to be. There's a lot of talent here. Sam Darnold's going into his 3rd season now. If they don't, at least if they're not competing on week 17 to make it into the playoffs this season, then I think